Let's be honest, every woman at some point has asked herself this question: is he thinking about me sexually? And not in a cheap or shallow way, but in that intense, electric, or consuming way that makes a man sit back in his chair, stare off into space, and imagine what it would feel like to have you close, to touch you, to taste your energy, to finally let his imagination take him where his words haven't gone yet. But here's the frustrating part: men rarely say it outright. They don't walk up and say, "Hey, I've been fantasizing about you all week." Why? Because even when a man is craving you, he's calculating. He doesn't want to risk scaring you off. He doesn't want to seem like all he wants is sex, especially if he's also emotionally into you. So what does he do instead? He shows it in 100 subtle ways that you may miss if you don't know what to look for. Because when a man is thinking about you sexually, his body, his timing, his attention, they all change. He starts doing things that aren't obvious, but they're loaded with tension, with temptation, with unspoken craving. So in this video, we're going to decode those hidden signals. I'll show you 6 subtle things men do when you're on their mind sexually, so that next time you see that look, that touch, that pause, you'll know exactly what's going on underneath it. This isn't about playing games. It's about understanding the emotional and physical language of desire, so you can stop second guessing and start owning the effect you have on him. Let's get into it. When a man starts thinking about you sexually, one of the first and most telling signs is when he begins reaching out at what seem like hoard hours, late at night, early in the morning, or right in the middle of his day when he's supposed to be focused on work. And it's not random. These moments are when his mental guard is down, when the distractions fade and his thoughts become more honest, more raw, and far more revealing. He may not say it outright, but that message at 4:03 p.m. that simply says, "You up," or "was just thinking about you," isn't just casual curiosity. It's laced with a craving, a desire he's been sitting with quietly, maybe all day, maybe all week, and suddenly it's too loud to ignore. What's interesting is that men won't always send something over. In fact, the more emotionally connected he is to you, the more subtle his messages tend to be. He might send you a meme, a random thought, just checking in, but the timing is the giveaway. If he was just trying to keep up polite conversation, he'd text you at lunchtime or after work. But when he's thinking about you in that deeper, more sensual way, it strikes him at the quietest, most vulnerable hours. When he's alone, relaxed, and his mind has space to wander, that's when you surface, and not just your face or your voice, but the idea of you, the feel of you. And let's be honest, if you're receiving these messages, you've probably already crossed that threshold with him. You've left an imprint. Something about the way you looked at him, the way you laughed, the way you casually touched his arm has embedded itself into his thoughts. So when the night grows still and his body remembers how good it felt just being near you, his instinct is to reach out. Now, does every late night text mean he's just looking for sex? Not necessarily. That's the beauty and the complexity of attraction. Sometimes, yes, it's physical, but often it's also emotional. When a man reaches out in that moment of solitude, it's not just about fantasy. It's about missing you, craving closeness, wanting the comfort of your energy, even if it's just through a screen. He might not be ready to say, "I want you," but everything about the timing says it for him. So instead of just analyzing what he says, pay attention to when he says it. The timing carries weight. If you notice a pattern of him texting you late, often with that subtle undercurrent of flirtation or affection, it's a strong sign that his mind, his desire, and maybe even his heart are all orbiting around you. You're not just a thought he has, you're a thought he returns to again and again, especially when no one else is watching. And that's when you know it's not just casual, it's personal, it's sexual, and it's real. When a man is thinking about you sexually, his body will almost always betray him before his words ever do. He might play it cool, act totally relaxed in conversation, and keep things light. But you'll notice something shift in the way he interacts physically. Suddenly, he's finding little excuses to touch you. He'll brush his hand against yours when he doesn't need to. He'll guide you gently by the waist as you walk through a doorway. His hand might linger just a moment too long on your shoulder after making a joke. None of it is aggressive, and it's never outright obvious, but it's undeniably intentional. These small touches are his way of dipping his toe into intimacy without diving all the way in, because touch in its lightest form is where sexual energy begins to surface. It's subtle, it's exploratory, and when a man wants you in that way, his brain starts looking for ways to close the gap between your body and his. It becomes less about necessity and more about desire. It's not that he has to touch you. It's that he needs to, just to ease the tension building under his skin. And this isn't always sexual in the overt sense. It's not about grabbing or groping. It's the innocent, everyday ways he bridges the space between you. These moments are instinctual. They bypass logic. He might not even realize how often he's doing it, how many times his hand reaches toward you in conversation, or how his leg grazes yours when you sit next to each other. But that's the thing. Desire doesn't wait for permission. It leaks out in proximity, in warmth, in physicality. Here's what's even more fascinating. When a man truly desires you sexually, but also respects you, he's careful with his touch. You'll feel the tension between what he wants to do and what he chooses to do. That restraint is where real attraction lies, because the guy who controls himself isn't actually turned on by you. He's just chasing gratification. But the guy who's thinking about you, craving you, and still managing to move slow and intentionally, that's the man who's savoring every second of the build-up. These touches aren't just physical gestures. They're messages. I want you close. I'm drawn to you. There's more I'm feeling than I'm saying. And sometimes the spaces between the touches say even more. The hesitation, the slight pause before he pulls away. That moment when he looks at where his hand just was on your body, as if memorizing how it felt. That's not accident. That's attraction. So if you're noticing him becoming more tactile, if you feel him reaching for you more often, even in subtle, casual ways, it's very likely he's thinking about you in ways he's not yet verbalizing. He's trying to manage what his body already knows. That he wants you, that he's imagining you. And the moment he gets that physical feedback, the smile when he touches your arm, the way you lean in when he's close, you confirm the fantasy he's been quietly entertaining. And that's when desire becomes undeniable. One of the most telling signs a man is thinking about you sexually is when he randomly brings up something you wore days after the fact. Maybe it's that black dress you wore on a date last weekend, or those jeans he says look dangerous on you, or the way your hair was tied up and how it made your neckline look. Whatever it is, if he's mentioning it well after the moment has passed, know this, he hasn't stopped seeing it in his mind. You see, when a man is attracted to you in a purely physical way, he notices what's in front of him. But when he's drawn to you in a more emotionally charged, sexually curious way, he remembers. He doesn't just see you, he absorbs you. He stores the image of you like a photograph in his brain, and those mental snapshots don't fade quickly. They resurface in the quiet, private moments at night, in the shower, when he's lying in bed and the rest of the world has gone still. That's when the image of you floods back, how you looked, what you wore, the way you moved in it. And that's when his desire sharpens. So when he brings it up later, casually, playfully, or with that sly smile, it's not random. It's a breadcrumb from his imagination, a little peek into where his mind has been wandering when you weren't around. It's his way of saying, I've been thinking about you like that. And he's not just remembering the outfit. He's remembering how it made him feel, the excitement, the tension, the way it hugged your curves. or maybe the way it revealed absolutely nothing but left everything to the imagination. Either way, it was powerful enough to stick with him and to make him crave that version of you again. Not just the physical version, but the experience of seeing you. What makes this even more meaningful is the timing. He could compliment you in the moment when you're all dressed up and expecting attention. But when he brings it up after, when you're in sweatpants or just having a normal conversation, it means that memory of you is still echoing in his system. He can't let it go. And whether he realizes it or not, he's actually revealing his deeper interest. Men don't revisit things they weren't emotionally or sexually impacted by. If he's replaying a detail from a week ago, that's not polite memory. That's fantasy. That's desire. That's proof that you didn't just walk into the room. You stayed with him long after. So if he's bringing up something you wore, even days later, know this, it left a mark. It wasn't just sexy, it was unforgettable. You entered his mental space and became a highlight reel he keeps replaying. And the fact that he wants you to know he noticed, that's his way of inviting you deeper into the connection, not just physically, but playfully, sensually, emotionally. That's when you know you're not just a moment. You're a memory he keeps choosing to relive. One of the most overlooked yet powerful signs that a man is thinking about you sexually is in the way he speaks to you. Not the words themselves, but the tone, the rhythm, the shift in his vocal energy when you walk into the room. You may not even catch it at first, but suddenly his voice is deeper, slower, smoother, and it's not by accident. This is not a rehearsed performance. This is instinct. When a man's desire for you intensifies, especially when it turns sexual, his entire nervous system responds. His voice lowers because it is his body's subconscious way of creating intimacy. Lower tones signal calm, confidence, and sensuality. It's the sound of a man stepping out of casual conversation and into something more charged, more focused, more aware of your presence. Think about it. You've probably heard him joke around with friends, maybe loud, energetic, even silly. But when he turns his attention to you, when his eyes linger and his voice dips, you feel something different. It's like he's no longer trying to entertain a crowd. He's trying to draw you in. It's seductive without even trying to be. It's an invisible thread that pulls your attention in a way you can't explain, because your body picks up on that shift before your mind even processes it. You feel it in your spine, in your breath, in the quiet pause before you respond. What's even more telling is when this shift happens in subtle moments, during casual conversation in a crowded room or over the phone, his voice drops not because he's planning to seduce you right then and there, but because he can't help it. It's an involuntary reaction to the thoughts running through his mind. The way he's picturing you, the way he's holding back the things he might want to say, but isn't quite ready to admit. And here's the beautiful twist when a man uses that lower, calmer, more sensual voice with you. It's not just about turning you on, it's also about managing his desire. That deep tone is him grounding himself, slowing himself down, trying to keep his thoughts and his imagination from racing too far ahead. It's restraint in disguise. Men don't drop their voice for everyone. That's why this signal is so powerful, because it's not performative, it's personal, it's selective. When his voice shifts for you, it means you've activated something primal in him. It's desire wrapped in emotional tension. It's his body speaking the words he can't yet say out loud. So next time you're in conversation and you notice his voice change, when it slows down, gets softer, and fills the air with a subtle electricity, don't dismiss it. That's not just chemistry. That's confirmation. He's not just hearing you, he's feeling you. Mm-hmm. And he wants you to feel him too. There's a momenting but unmistakable that tells you exactly where a man's mind is going when he's around you. It's when his eyes start drifting, not to your eyes, not even to your body, but to your mouth. And I'm not talking about staring in a way that's creepy or obvious. I mean, those subtle, lingering glances, those half-second pauses where his gaze flicks down as you're speaking, as if he's not just listening to your words, but feeling every syllable that leaves your lips. When a man is thinking about you sexually, he doesn't always have the words for it. He doesn't always know how to say, I want to kiss you right now, or I can't stop imagining what it would feel like to pull you in and taste that mouth I've been fantasizing about for weeks. So instead, his desire shows up in this one small, instinctive movement, his eyes dropping to your lips. It's primal. It bypasses logic. He might be mid-conversation, but part of him has already gone somewhere else into the fantasy of closeness, of touch, of heat. And his body, his eyes start to betray that inner world. Because once a man starts looking at your mouth that way, he's no longer just focused on what you're saying. He's focused on what he wants to do about it. This is especially true in moments of quiet intimacy. You're sitting close, maybe you're sharing a laugh, maybe there's tension building between you, and suddenly you notice he isn't quite maintaining eye contact like before. He's looking down at your smile, your lips, the way your mouth curves around every word. That glance, that's him picturing the kiss. That's him fighting the temptation. And if he's doing it repeatedly, that means it's not just a passing thought, it's a craving. What's beautiful about this moment is that it's not forced. He's not trying to impress you. He's not even aware he's doing it most of the time. It's a slip, a window into his raw attraction. And you'll feel it because the air changes. Your own heart rate shifts. There's a surge of energy, a pulse of chemistry that wraps around both of you. And suddenly, even the silence between words feels electric. But here's the thing, he may not act on it yet. That's why recognizing the sign matters. If he's looking at your mouth and still holding back, it's because he respects he's reading the moment, waiting, watching, wanting. That restraint, that's where the real sexual tension lies. That's when it builds into something unforgettable. So the next time you catch his eyes drop to your lips, even for just a second, don't brush it off. That's not just a glance, it's a confession. He may not have said it yet, but in that moment, his eyes said everything. One of the most misunderstood signals a man gives when he's thinking about you sexually is silence. That's right. He goes quiet. Right in the middle of a conversation, you're laughing, you're sharing something, and suddenly he's not saying much. His responses get slower, shorter, and his gaze starts to change. And in that moment, you start to wonder, is he bored? Did I say something wrong? But the truth is far more interesting. When a man becomes mentally and physically consumed by his desire for you, especially when it hits him unexpectedly, his brain can actually start to shut down a little, not in a negative way. It's not disinterest, it's overstimulation. You've just triggered something in him, a fantasy, a moment, a desire. And suddenly he's in two places at once, present with you and also deep in his imagination. It could be the way you touched your hair, the sound of your laugh, the way your top slipped ever so slightly to reveal your shoulder. It could be absolutely nothing and everything at once, but something about you just pulled him out of the room and into his own mind. And trust me, what's happening in that head of his isn't PG. He's seeing you, he's feeling you, he's playing out moments he hasn't had the courage to speak out loud. This is where the body and mind collide. He wants to keep talking, but he's momentarily lost in you. He's not just hearing your words, he's hearing them wrapped in the tone of your voice, watching how your lips move, feeling his own breath change. And for that moment, words become useless. All he can do is pause, reset, and hope you didn't notice how badly he wants to close the space between you. The reason this silence is so telling is because it's not casual, it's not awkwardness or disinterest. It's charged. If you pay attention to the shift, you'll notice it. The eye contact lingers. The air feels heavier. There's a sudden stillness, like something is about to happen, even if it doesn't. He may even try to recover quickly, make a joke, change the subject, look away. But that brief moment where he slips into silence, that's where the desire lives. What makes this so powerful is that it's involuntary. He's not trying to create sexual tension. It's happening to him, and he's trying not to give it away. But you've just become more than someone he's attracted to. you've become someone who disarms him, someone who pulls him out of logic and into longing. So the next time you're talking to a man and he suddenly falls quiet, don't rush to fill the silence. Watch him. Feel the shift. That pause might just be the loudest thing he never said. Because in that silence, he's telling you the truth. He's thinking about you exactly the way you hope he is. So now you know. When a man is thinking about you sexually, he may not always say it with words. He might not look you in the eye and confess his fantasies, his tension, or how much he wants to be near you. But his body speaks, his habits shift, his energy changes. It's in the late night messages, the ones that sneak through when his guard is down. It's in the way he touches you, casually but with intention, testing the edges of closeness. It's in the details he remembers, how that dress looked on you, or how your jeans made him lose his train of thought. It's in the way his voice dips when you're near, how his tone softens and slows without him even noticing. It's in the glances to your lips, that electric tension between thought and action. And it's in those moments he goes completely silent because he's no longer thinking, he's feeling. These are not coincidences. These are not just being nice. These are the unspoken clues that his mind has gone back, and it keeps going back. And here's the most beautiful part of all, this kind of desire. It doesn't just happen because of how you look. It happens because of how you make him feel. You've lit something up inside him that he can't switch off. He's not just attracted to your body, he's consumed by your presence. So the next time you notice these subtle signs, don't question your power. Don't doubt your effect. Know it. Own it. Because once a man starts thinking about you this way, once you've taken root in his imagination and left fingerprints on his desire, you've already become more than a passing thought. You've become his favorite obsession. And when you know that, you stop chasing validation and start commanding attention.